Welcome back to What's Good Cape Cod. I'm Sarah Lapsley-Martin.
And I'm Katie Clancy. Each week, we come to you with a person, a place, and a thing that we think you should know about. But some weeks, we just can't wait, and we have to come to you right now with a hot take.
That's right. And back in season 1, we featured Mary Catherine Starr. She is a yoga teacher, an artist, a consultant, a blogger, jack of all trades, we'll say. And now most people know her for her comics. So much has happened since the last time we talked to her.
Yes, so much has happened. And actually, let's get people caught up, Mary Catherine. Why don't you tell our audience who you are so they can appreciate what has happened?
Okay, sure. So as you said, I'm a local mom, yoga teacher, graphic designer, artist. I do a lot of different things. And way back before, right before the pandemic hit, I started making these fun little comics. They were very simple illustrations that I posted to my personal Instagram feed. And pretty quickly after the pandemic hit, they became sort of my therapeutic outlet for everything that was hard about being a mom at home with kids during a pandemic. And so I started doing them more and more, and they really kind of caught on just on my personal feed. And so back in July of last year, 2021, I decided to make a separate Instagram feed just for my comics. And my hope was just that, I could kind of focus more on them there and help that kind of part of what I do grow because I love it so much. And back in January, one of my comics went viral, which that's my first experience with anything going viral. I had no idea what that meant. And it's totally changed everything. So right before it went viral, my comic, I had about 15,000 followers on my new feed, which is called Mom Life Comics. And now I have like over 190,000. So it's been insane. And just in a matter of months, it's like kind of changed my career trajectory in a very unexpected way.
Yeah.
Really? So
I think
go ahead.
Yeah, I think it's so cool that you're a local mom and now your work is literally across the globe. I mean, it's crazy. Wait, I got to show everyone my shirt. So this is actually, I'm not just in a sweatshirt because I want to be comfy, but this is the comfiest sweatshirt and it says Mama Needs a Minute. It's a Mary Catherine Starr original. I love it. And it's so true. Mamas need a minute.
Yeah.
Amen. We're going to need to get all of the links for all your swag too, but don't let us forget. We're going to put that up and share it with our audience. So you mentioned a minute ago that like your whole career trajectory changed. So where were you before things really took off? What did your week look like?
Yeah, well, I mean, I primarily spend my time doing graphic design work for small businesses. So, and I still am doing kind of that. So don't get me wrong. Nothing, it hasn't completely changed in terms of me letting go of things that I love. Just added, of course, as we all do, just more and more. But so, I still do a lot of graphic design, and that's really what I was doing before. I was teaching yoga about 3 classes a week and spending the rest of my time doing graphic design and a little bit of kind of custom illustration for clients. And now I have a way more clients that are not local. I have a lot of people reaching out from all over the world, and I'm doing a lot more of custom comics and illustration that has more of kind of a comic feel to it. And so that's been a really fun, exciting new thing. I mean, I think what was so great for me was that I was loving these comics. They were just like this whole new creative outlet for me that felt so cathartic in a way. And so now being able to do that for a little bit more of my job has been very exciting. And working with all different kind of brands that are much more aligned with, what I care about right now has been really nice too.
So cool. So you mentioned, go ahead, Sarah.
Yeah, I think we should tell everyone what your comic was that went viral.
Yes.
Your comics are so amazing because they're really about your life. I mean, there's some about your husband that are hilarious.
No, they're about our lives, Sarah. Yeah. That's why it went so crazy. They're about our lives.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I think.
Yeah. So the comic that went viral was called The Double Standards, an illustrated guide to the double standards of parenting. And basically each slide was just an image of a mom and a dad doing the exact same thing. And the mom would be labeled one way and the dad would be labeled one way, right? So it was really just highlighting the way that moms are held to this super high standard and dads are applauded for doing the most basic of parenting tasks. So, mom at a grocery store, dad at a grocery store, right? Mom picking up her kid from school, dad picking up his kid from school, and how moms are looked like, the mom picking up her kid from school in a suit is a working mom, and the dad picking up a kid from school in a suit is an involved dad, right? Like, so the mom is labeled as something she's working. She's not like an available mom. And the dad is labeled as like this amazing dad because he's taking up this kid. So, that was kind of the thread that went along all of the comics.
So you get like very knowing nods for me and Sarah. We're like, preach, sister. Yep. But that was not actually a universal response. That's not how everybody reacted, did they?
Right. Well, I think a lot of people, and I don't want to generalize too much, but it was mostly men who pushed back against it. And what I found in the responses that I got from men who were angry was mostly that they thought in their relationship individually that wasn't the case. And so my point and my kind of rebuttal and response in a very kind way was that, this isn't about individuals. This isn't saying you are a dad who's babysitting and the mom isn't, she's being a mother. This is saying this is what society is labeling. And whether you feel this or not in your relationship doesn't matter, because women from over 40 countries, there's a reason this went viral. It's because we are all seeing that that's how society sees us. So it's not about individuals. And I think that was the part that was hard for some people to get past. And I think, a lot of men who feel like they're pulling their weight in their relationship or as a parent couldn't pull themselves out to big picture and say like, oh, this isn't about me. This is about society. At least that's my take.
No, it's actually good. One of the things that I think just in success, but when you become more visible, there are 3 signs of success that I've experienced that are unpleasant. Haters, which is different from what you got. Haters are people who are jealous of you. Lawsuits and trolls. Haters, lawsuits, and trolls. And I hope that you don't have all 3 of them, but you definitely had the trolls. But what I'm noticing is the way that you respond to it. You're not defensive.
I'm trying not to be. It's hard. Yeah, it's hard.
Listen, my first troll, I was like, "Wah!" My kids were like, "Let's go get him, pitchforks and knives." They were like, "No," said we're not going to engage that person.
Right. Yes.
There's no point in doing that. Yeah. But I think for other moms and anybody who's starting a business or doing anything that gives them lots of exposure online, being prepared to trigger someone in some way, shape, or form. You just are not, this is one of my favorite things to say, and you can use this. Yeah. You are never going to be everyone's cup of tea.
Right.
But you're always going to be somebody's shot of tequila.
Yes.
I love that.
Right?
So good.
You just gotta look for your tequila people.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. I think that's what's happened. I think I've found them and they're amazing. And that's what's keeping me going. That's what's made this so fun for me, is like the messages I get from moms everywhere. I mean, I never could have imagined how much like a little comment could mean to people, but that's been really, really cool. And I think that's helped drown out the, few angry people who feel like it's their job to stand up for all the good dads, which of course there are a trillion good dads. This isn't saying there are good dads and bad dads. This is saying our society views moms and dads differently. That's all. I don't have any criticism towards men. This isn't about men. So anyways.
Yes.
So true.
Yeah. And so so your comics have been shared, you were saying in all these different countries. It must be so crazy to see it translated in different languages. And I thought one of the funniest ones was, I think it was a couple that reenacted your comic.
Yeah, there were 2 psychologists. I want to say they were in Brazil. I can't remember if it was Brazil or Argentina now, because there's been so many weird things. But it was a couple of psychologists who did a reel on Instagram acting out all of my comics. So that was really cool to see. Yeah,
it's crazy. I mean, it's just amazing. We're so happy for you, and it's exciting.
We know her.
I know. I'm like, look at it. We knew her.
Well, it's also it's funny being when it's comics and not your face, because it is. It's like no one out there in the world really knows it's me. It's just my drawing. So it's funny because I could kind of separate, which I actually liked. Like it's not pictures of my face, which I think would be a lot scarier to have out in the world. So it makes it better.
And you have a recent collaboration you're doing with was it Microsoft?
Well, I did Microsoft in Israel. Their R&D department did a little thing with that viral comic. Actually, they licensed some of the images from me and did a internal. They printed shirts and mugs and products, and they did an internal kind of thing for their campaign for their employees. So that was very cool and neat to collaborate with them and really wild as well to be like, when they first called, it was like, oh, we're working with this company in Israel. And later down the line, they said, oh, and it's a little company you might have heard of called Microsoft. And I was like, what is happening? I was like, am I getting punked? Is this real?
Yeah, right.
So it's all been, it's been pretty mind blowing, but but fun.
Oh, goodness.
Oh God, that is just so cool.
Oh.
Now, you're obviously an artist. You've got your comic. We want to know, of course you love your own comics. What is your favorite comic that you don't draw?
Oh my gosh. Well, I have so many favorites. I mean, I'm right. My kind of the person who inspired me, Grace Ferris is her name. Her handle is Coupe de Grace Ferris, but she's, I've been following her for years, and she's someone who she's actually a physician who just does comics on the side, and they're all about motherhood. And she just had a book come out. So it's called Mom Milestones. It's a great gift for moms if you're looking for something for Mother's Day. But she's wonderful. And she was kind of the first person who made me realize that this is like something you can do. Like I just always looked forward to seeing her posts in my feed, and they always brought me a little joy. And so I think, she's kind of the person who inspired me, like maybe I should try to do something in that realm, and so yeah, I'll recommend her. But there's so many great ones, I have tons I could share if anybody's curious.
Is there anything else that you want our viewers to know about you?
I would just say, well, there's a couple things. One, I would say that, I think a lot of times people think that my comics are, here's what I don't want people to think. I don't want people to think that my comics are trying to bash anyone. And I think that that's a really common misconception when people see comics or comedy, or there's a lot of different, I try to use humor to point out the inequalities in our society. That's like a big goal of what I want to do, and of course inequality when it comes to motherhood and what mothers are expected to be able to handle and do for everyone. So just for anyone who hears this, who watches this, or who looks at my work, that's my big goal, and I say it in all of my captions, but that my work is all about just kind of making moms feel less alone in this really challenging role during this really challenging time. And then also to make sure that I'm pointing out, that things aren't fair and aren't right, and that's something we should all be working towards changing. And I think that is moms' jobs and men's, women's and men's jobs. I mean, I think anybody who's in a relationship, anybody who's a parent, it's their job to make these changes, and it's not on any one part of the population. But I think we can all be doing more to make things fairer and to help moms not feel so overwhelmed.
I would agree. Yeah.
Do that.
So, and we want to make sure that everyone checks out your merch that you have, because honestly, I love it. You have an amazing Schitt's Creek comic, which I'm sure that one went huge during the pandemic.
Yeah.
And then I love your new one. I've got a Tired Mom Social Club, which I think is hilarious. And I just love it all. So be sure to check it out.
Thank you.
Sarah is a serious swag junkie. If you got swag, this girl's buying it.
Yep.
I know, but she's so supportive. I appreciate that. I mean, also really thank you to you all, because you have done so much to support my brand and my growth. And, I remember way back before my comics were anything, Sarah, you were always sharing them. And so I really appreciate that.
I love them. I mean, like the rest of the moms out there, they really resonate. And you're like, oh my God, this happens in my life. This is hilarious. And it's things you don't even think about, and then when you see it in a comic,
you're like, this is funny, and it's only I experience it, and then you see it in a comic, you're like, oh my God, them too? Yeah.
Like me too. Yep.
I think that's what's been so cool. I mean, I know I kind of already said this, but before it was like I was mostly talking to like my friends and family and my small personal feed, and then like the other moms I know on Cape Cod, and so I think it is easy to be like, oh, this is just an American thing, or this is just a New England thing, or a Cape Cod thing, or whatever. And then when you see that it's universal, and there's someone in Botswana and Brazil and France and Turkey who all feel the same way, you're like,
yep.
Okay, that's when you start to realize it's a problem instead of just like.
So that's it for this week's What's Good Hot Take. Now you know what's good Cape Cod. So if you're on YouTube, remember to hit the subscribe button so you never miss an episode.
And if you're looking for more information about Mary Catherine Starr, Mom Life Comics, or anything that we've talked about in this episode, visit our website at whatsgoodcc.com.